Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we're going back to talking about games again. And today, as I'm sure you figured out from the title, we're talking about 32X game repros coming from a company called CrebbaTECH. Hopefully that's how you pronounce them. Now, if you're wondering why the camera angle today is 1960s Batman supervillain, that is because I'm trying to get the screen in shot while also having room to display the games, and this is the hardest angle. Without rearranging everything, this is the only angle that worked. So I bought 4 games. There's a lot more than that on there. The prices range between $30 and $40. Um, Now they are well made, so let me show you what I got here. I got the one that I really was after originally was Knuckles Chaotix. Now, as you can see, these are in a Genesis case, a very well made Genesis case. I don't know for sure where they got these from, but you could fool someone that these are real, genuine shells. They feel well made. They don't feel like they're flimsy at all. The labels on these things are really nice. They're like glossy vinyl. They seem to be stuck on here. I've had some that the glue tend to give away like as soon as you receive them. The glue just starts peeling, but these don't feel like that. They have wonderful end labels. For games that didn't have that. So let me show you, if you don't remember what a 32X game actually looked like, here's a real one. Yeah, it didn't have end labels. It just had the front label. Very different cartridge design on the front, even the back. But the bottom was the same as the Genesis game because you could play Genesis games on the system. Now, I do have a friend who's really good with 3D prints and all that, and he is trying to create a replacement shell so that we can stick these things in a real shaped 32X shell. We've got the general shape under control. There was no models for one of these. There was only like a miniature, so we're trying to upscale. Well, I should say he's trying to upscale. I don't even have a 3D printer. But going back to the games, as I showed you, Knuckles Chaotix. So this is the reason I was getting into the 32X Repro world. Now, when I was originally looking into it, there was multiple sellers. They weren't that much cheaper, but they weren't quite as much as they ended up being. But they've all disappeared. All those sellers, all gone. Have no idea where they went. This is the only seller that's left out there. I don't know if they murdered everybody else. Probably not, but you never know. The other games that I purchased are going to be Dark Side, which is kind of like a 3D space shooter, kind of Star Wars feeling. I couldn't figure out what I was doing in it when I tried it. Then going on from there, we have the Spider-Man Web of Fire game, which is very expensive. That's the theme here. These are all very expensive games. They're usually like 150 plus for a cheap one. I think this goes for even closer to 300. I'm not sure, but I can tell you if it really was $300, it's not that good of a game. Anyway, the last game that I got was Tempo, which is very unique in and of itself. It's like you're on a game show in a way, or a television show. Yeah, it's weird. So how do these games work? That's the biggest thing about game repros and how do they work. Well, I can show you. I've got the 32X and Genesis all hooked up over here. There's nothing in it at the moment, but you can see the TV reacted to it. I'm going to take a Web of Fire, and I'm going to put it right in to the 32X and turn on the 32X. And how about that? There it is on the TV. See? Me controlling it. So they work pretty good. At least 3 out of the 4. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. I don't know if this is normal. I guess it is. I don't know how this game is supposed to be exactly, but I can tell you that it seems to work just fine. No problems here. They did, in fact, verify that the save function works on Knuckles Chaotix. because when I started the game, their save file was there. Because the people who made it test them individually, which is very impressive. Now, let me show you Knuckles Chaotix and what it does. So you get this, and that's it. So I contacted the company because I was kind of confused. I was like, hey, Knuckles didn't work. What's going on? And they're like, oh, there's something weird about making repros of this game. If you just push reset, suddenly you have a game. And how about that? It worked. So, yeah, they're not perfect. Repros don't tend to be perfect. Turn the sound down. This is a Model 1 Genesis, so I have a sound slider over there. So repros aren't always perfect, but I can say that once they told me how to get this thing to go, I mean, there is nothing wrong with the game outside of that. You have save files. I deleted their save. Probably shouldn't have. When I played it, I accidentally hit the no save option, which apparently is a thing. But I did open up Knuckles Chaotix just to kind of see when I thought it didn't work, to see what could be wrong with it. These things are definitely hand soldered. You can tell. Is it the best solder job? It's decent. It's better than what I could do, but you can tell it was hand soldered. So I thought maybe there was a broken trace, but hey, it still works, and I could see the battery in there, so I can confirm that it has all the specs in there to save the game. It did have a save game when I got it, so yeah. The other 3 games I got, Dark Side and Tempo, they both worked. I can show you. Let's take Knuckles Chaotix out of there. Here's Tempo. There you go. There's Tempo. Alan works. And last but not least, Dark Side. And we'll go out on the Dark Side here. Where's my controller? There it is. So, yeah. CrebbaTECH. If you want 32x repros and to play games, they even have some unreleased stuff like the hamster simulator. What was it? Virtua Hamster? Which is unfinished, which is why I didn't bother getting it. I originally intended on it, but when I realized how absolutely unplayable it is, where there's not much to it, you run around in a tube, and that's it, I just passed on it. But, yeah. This one's kind of interesting, I guess. It controls decently well for using a D-pad. But this isn't really a review about the games. This is just to show you that, yeah, they do in fact work. And if you want 32x repros, that's the place to get them. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.